Hi, I'm Gino here with a preview of Saturday's stakes race at Gulfstream Park. It's the $95,000 Powder Break Stakes. This one was actually rescheduled from last week when it was initially carded on the turf, now scheduled for the synthetic. And it's a big race this weekend because it's part of a mandatory payout pick six sequence at Gulfstream Park on Saturday. So we have to be ready and we have to make sure that we get this race correct if we want to close everything out. So let's take a look at the field for the Powder Break. And I thought this is a really interesting betting board too. Napa Candy from the inside, Batacuda, Empress Ellie, Novala, Towser in the middle of the field. Horses who've had some recent success on the grass, flipping over to the synthetic. I'll talk about Jan's Girl and the trouble she's had recently. And then to the outside, you have the speed of the 9 Wide West, and then Angel Nadashiko, the class. That's a grade 3 winner back in December, won the Bobby Frankel, and you're going to see Drayden Van Dyke out there riding for Safety Joseph Jr. Let's take a look at how Timeform US thinks this race shapes up. They have a fast pace, and I'm not surprised to see that because I do agree that Wide West, who's stretching out from 5 furlongs, and a horse who has legit 21 flat speed, should be pushing it here. Then you have Swoonatra, who flashed sub 23 speed last time out. Batacuda should be a few lengths behind them, but was so good pushing the pace last time out. I don't think they're gonna want to be way out of it. It'll be very interesting to see if those two hook up early on and they really make this a fast, contentious early pace like Timeform US thinks, and like I'm sort of thinking it could be. Let's take a look at the field. Let's go horse through horse from the inside out. And let's start with the number 1, Napa Candy. This is a 3-time winner, but they're all on dirt and on a wet surface. This hasn't really been close in your last 5 races. Came over to Gulfstream for a new barn right now, and it just sort of feels like a reset spot. So first time for Orsino, really tough to get a read on for me. I'm going to be just taking a wait and see approach on this one. And, if we can get some improvement from Napa Candy, that's when we will decide to play this horse moving forward. Right next door, Batacuda, the number 2, comes out of a really impressive performance last time out. We actually have a replay of that last race where Batacuda gets to the lead early and just puts this field away. I mean, she was heavily favored that day, and she absolutely crushed. And when you start to go through her overall form, she's faced some tough horses. A few starts back, she's behind a horse named Beth's Dream, who's 7 for 14. You see Scylla, who comes out of that race to win a graded stakes. Sweet Danny Girl is a stakes winner. Papilio is a grade 2 winner. So I feel like Batacuda is coming out of some pretty strong races, and that could fare very well against this group. Just from a running style standpoint, though, I'm not exactly sure what to expect from her because I don't think she'll be able to sit as easy of a trip as she did in her last race against this type of a field. Let's move next door to Empress Ellie, the number 3 in here. She's a 3-time synthetic winner. She was 9th in this race last year at 5-2. Coming off a most recent race, she was taken back. She was a couple lengths off. She got shuffled to 4th inside. She was traveling pretty well, but she was just behind a tiring rival. I don't think she got the smoothest of journeys in the world. And I could make a case for her running a little bit better in here if you're looking for a price horse, maybe an underneath horse that you think could outrun their odds. I wouldn't talk you off the 3, Empress Ellie. Up next, let's move to the very sharp Novala, and we have a replay of Novala last time out where she just swoops the field. And you can see her on the outside as she moves to the front end here. And she's just in really nice form right now. And that form has moved from barn to barn, and she now comes into the Carlos David barn. She's looking for her 3rd race, her 3rd victory in a row, and now she's moving into a barn that is so good. First start off the claim. Carlos David has been winning at 31% over the last 5 years with horses first start off the claim, 40 for 130. If you just blindly bet $2, you'd have $2.45 back just off of all of his horses going first start off the claim. So first time versus stakes company, they're going to step up and try a little tougher, but she's in good form right now. And it makes a lot of sense. You can understand why they would step up and try that tougher group. Right next door, it's the number 5. That is Towser. And we actually have a backtrack replay look at Towser and another one of these rivals, which is Angel Nadashiko. They're right next door to each other in this race. They were the number 6 and the number 4, and they're going to end up finishing 2nd and 3rd in here. And they both ran pretty well behind Ocean Club. I prefer Towser a little bit, who is now stakes placed. I just think She does have a little more versatility to her. She can close and pass horses, whereas Angel Nadeshiko, not quite as sure from a tactical standpoint what trip we're going to get. But when you look at Towser, the pace projector has her as one of those horses who's going to be closing, who's going to be picking them up late. That was the case last time out with that good runner-up effort. And now she goes second start of the year. She makes her second start off of a long layoff and as a 5-year-old. So she could take a nice step forward in here. No knocks. She's one of the horses who will come closing. Swoonatra, we saw the Timeform US pace projector have her right up front. She should be pushing the pace in there. Swoonatra will get back to the synthetic. She actually was a winner last time she was on the synthetic, and she does seem to be one of the better horses in here with synthetic form overall, being a multiple winner on there. So she's kind of been sneaky on turf too, where her races haven't been as her races maybe are kind of similar. And I think if you look at horses overall, again, that can maybe outrun their odds, give you a nice run for their money, show a little bit of speed, that would be Swoonatra in here, but she's a little under the radar for me. Next door, Friendly Persuasion. Second start off a 7+ month break. She's exiting some very strong races where she was behind Scylla, who came back out of that race and is a graded stakes winner. Fancy Martini, who is a horse who's earned $400,000 plus. First time for this new barn, and they'll also try the synthetic for the first time. The two monster wins for Friendly Persuasion are surrounded by a lot of races where she just didn't fire. So in her 8 career races, she has 2 big efforts and then a lot of other races where she just didn't show up at all that day. So can you get a real feel for a horse like this who's not been a model of consistency? I can't. So I'll be moving on from Friendly Persuasion to the horse who I really like in here. And we have a replay to look at of Jan's Girl, who's actually going to be my top selection in here. Jan's Girl had a brutal, brutal trip last time out. Bobby's got the replay for us here. She's the gray, and you can see she's trying to look for some room. She's shifting around, and she just has absolutely nowhere to go. Before this, she got crossed over on going into the turn. She got cut off when traveling well. She loomed up. She had nowhere to go. She stopped. She had to back up, and she still kept trying. She still kept coming at the end, did Jan's Girl. If you can go back and watch that full replay of April the 21st, I mean, you will not find a race that has more trouble in it than what Jan's Girl found that day. I think she's sitting on a big one in here. She's proven on the synthetic right here at Gulfstream Park. She's run very well. She's versatile. She has some tactical speed, but she does not need the lead. I think they can put her in different spots in here, and she has different ways she can win this race. Looking at some of the horses she faced last year, Sand and Sea was in very good form. She won 3 in a row. And when you go race by race by race for Jan's Girl, everything makes sense for her. She's going to be my top selection in here when we get to the selections and finish up. Couple more to discuss. The number 9, Wide West. If there's anyone in here who could go gate to wire and who could steal this race, it would probably be the 9, Wide West, who's coming out of some of the fastest races. That's what makes her a real wild card in here. She's never been beyond 6.5 furlongs, and now she's going to go the 1 mile, 1 mile 70. Her last 6 races have been on turf. They've been fine. On synthetic, she was pretty good too. She was a multiple winner. So legit 21 flat speed, should be the one to catch in here. Not sure how far she wants to go, but she'll take them as far as she can. I have to use her in exactas, tries, and supers just because there are possibilities that she could run away and hide from this field. Let's move next door to Chick Shadow. 2 more to discuss in this field. Chick Shadow was a runner-up in this race last year, and she actually has some of the better overall synthetic form. On March the 10th, March the 16th, you look a couple starts back, that was at Gulfstream Park. She was chasing a lone speed wire-to-wire winner that day. Last time out on a synthetic was back in January, and that was a good win that day, a very nice W. She has performed well on the synthetics here at Gulfstream Park, and I think she fits well for a 7-year-old, another horse who can probably outrun their odds in here. And if you're looking for some value, I would not talk you off Chick Shadow. Rounding out the field is Angel Nadeshiko. She's a grade 3 winner in here, and she fits very well from a class standpoint. I just never know what to expect from her with her running style, because her best efforts have been right on the front end. Her wins have been just basically gate to wire. And I don't think she's going to be able to get to the lead in here with a horse like Wide West, who seems to be a lot faster than her early on. So, Drayden Van Dyke, can he work out a nice trip in here? He's going to be aboard Angel Nadeshiko. She's hooked out wide, grade 3 winner on the turf, multiple wins on the dirt, but making her synthetic debut. What kind of running style will they figure out from her from out wide? I can't quite figure it out. So I'll be kind of a little cold on her in this spot. Bobby, let's go to the selections, my friend. Let's see where we land as we finish up talking about race number 13, the powder break. I'm on the 8, Jan's Girl, coming off that trouble last time out, a brutal trip. I think she can sit just behind the leaders and get the jump on some of the deeper closers in here. The 9 could be the speed of the speed. That's why I have this one in the second spot. And then from an opposite standpoint, I think we're going to get horses that can come from off the pace with Towser and with Novala, who will be picking up some pieces late there. So that's how I've put them all together in the powder break. We wish you the best of luck this weekend at Gulfstream Park. Race number 13 is the powder break stakes. When you play the races, make sure to play them at DRF Bets.